Like many of you, I started getting very critical about Evony the King's Return just before Keep 40 was about to be released. We the players all knew that Keep 40 was a terrible decision for player satisfaction and experience. We knew they were making short-term financial choices over what was right for the players. I'm sure they knew that too, but didn't care. Becoming critical of Evony and its developers has led me down a rabbit hole of information I didn't necessarily want, but I do prefer to know all the information. I thought you might want that too, so in this video we are going to take a glimpse at the history of the game. In doing so, it might help us discover whether we can expect any positive growth in the future. I mean, if they have a history of issues that they haven't improved on in 15 years, should we be optimistic that anything will get done? As I mentioned in previous videos, I've played Evony since Age 1 back when it was played on internet browsers. As it is today with King's Return, the early Evony was immensely popular, but perhaps for all the wrong reasons. Let's take a look at a video that summarizes issues players faced all those years ago. While we do this, I'll try to reflect on whether those issues are still relevant or not. I'm certain that many people out there are not familiar with Evony's history, so it should be fairly interesting to take a look under the carpet. Feel free to add a comment to the video to share what you think has changed or stayed the same. This video is called Evony, Pay Now My Lord, Proof of Evony's Fraud and Cheats, and you can find it right here on YouTube by using the link in the video description. Let's get started.
Evony.com. Is it based off a World of Warcraft gold farming site guilty of fraud and originating from China? Does it have a disturbing agenda? Watch this video and you be the judge. All of this information is listed in public records and you can verify the data for yourself. Going to RuneScape.com, we compare the Evony.com page to RuneScape.com side by side. Both have the same layout. Both say continue to full site for news and game help. Both say do not display this page again. Both claim to be free to play. Both claim to be popular. Both say join a global community of millions. Both say instant access, no installation. Both say play anywhere via your browser. Both say the amount of quests. Both say regular content updates. They are identical content side by side, but RuneScape was created nearly 10 years earlier.
So I did hear about that before. I heard quite a few instances of copyright infringement or plagiarism or whatever you want to call it were really there in the way that it was developed. I've heard from other games too. I think it was Civilization and Age of Empires and those kind of things that, and you know, I'm not the one to point fingers and stuff, but I have heard and I've seen a lot of information out there and evidence that artwork and stuff was taken and you know, it was basically developed on the backs of the people that created those initial games. I have heard that. I don't know if this video is going to talk about it, but I didn't necessarily know that it was so much of it, even on like just the registration page, was borrowed from RuneScape. But looking at that, it looks pretty damning, actually. Let's continue.
August 25, 2009, Evony hires a lawyer based in Australia to sue a blogger named Bruce Everis. Neither Bruce Everis nor Evony is based there or has any business registered there. Evony doesn't form Evony LLC until nearly a week after threatening to take legal action against him for his blogs which claim Evony is linked to the World of Warcraft unauthorized virtual sales business. You are about to see undoubtable proof that Evony has filed a false lawsuit when they claim they aren't based from China, have no history of World of Warcraft sales, and that they were never sued by Microsoft. All the evidence will be here for you to see.
So some blogger said, apparently, what was his name? Bruce Everis, apparently wrote some information on his blog about, you know, that the company that, I don't know, Evony LLC or whatever it was called back then was linked to World of Warcraft gold farming. And if you don't know what that is, World of Warcraft is a very popular MMO. I mean, it's pretty rare that you haven't heard about that. But it was plagued with a lot of issues of gold farmers. And they had these people that were working in basically like sweatshops in China. And they pay them very little money. And all they would do is farm gold in the game. And they'd use that as currency that they would build up on certain characters that they would sell for real money, and people would purchase that gold and it would be traded. And it was, something that was not permitted in the game, obviously. And it was very frowned upon. So to see that there's a link between that, that seems a little shady if that's true. I'm not going to say whether or not anything's true because I'm not the one that I haven't gone through and looked at all the evidence. But so far, everything I'm seeing is kind of suggestive for sure.
On May 5, 2009, the domain wowmine.com, a World of Warcraft gold selling website with a reputation for scamming customers, switches owners by signing up for a service called Domains by Proxy, which advertises the ability to hide your domain registration and owner information from the public as its main and only service. Prior to that, wowmine.com is owned by Eric Lamb in Wilmington, Delaware, the same location as Evony LLC. On May 27, 2009, Evony.com switches name servers from worldwidedns.net to dnsadminist.net. Just a few days later, on June 3, 2009, wowmine.com does the exact same and switches name servers from worldwidedns.net to dnsadminist.net. On August 7, 2009, the domain evony.com also switches owners by signing up for the same Domains by Proxy service as wowmine.com. June 15, 2009. The New York Times reports that Microsoft has filed its first ever click fraud lawsuit in the United States District Court in Seattle against...
Hold on, I want to read that. Like, all that stuff was very specific and very interesting. So, just looking at that, it looked like there was definitely a link between it just off what I've seen there. But I was to say, in the complaint, it also said that it had to credit back $1.5 million to advertisers because of the Lamb's alleged fake clicks, and they're seeking $750,000 damages. All right, so they had this fake clicking kind of thing that, in a way, seems a lot like false advertisement, right? And they had, I think, the way that this worked, and I hope they talk about it, is it's basically like clickbait stuff. So you'd click on something thinking you're getting taken to somewhere, but instead it would take you to the registration for the game. It wouldn't even necessarily be related to the game. It would just be something that you click that seemed interesting, and it would take you there instead. And I think that this is what that is all about. So kind of like fake advertisement. Now, does that seem familiar today? Well, yeah. I mean, they can sugarcoat it all they want, but Evony's not a puzzle game. And all this stuff that they have advertising about pulling pins and these beautiful puzzles and come play the puzzle game that is always advertised. This is the only one that's actually like that. Like, have you seen those ads? They are ridiculous. It's completely fake, and that's not an opinion. That one's a fact. Yeah, there are puzzles in the game because they didn't want to have a lawsuit because of false advertisement. So technically, there are puzzles in this game, but they're not the same puzzles. There's like, if you've watched my puzzle series, there's like one puzzle in like 40 that actually looks somewhat like the video. And we know it's not a puzzle game. So this is all false advertisement just to get people to click. It's clickbait. It's exactly the same thing as what I'm seeing here. So have they changed from that perspective on this? Absolutely not. I don't know about the rest. Let's keep watching. But in this regard, they have not changed.
Eric Lamb for $750,000 in damages and names Mr. Lamb's brother and mother as additional defendants. A quote from Microsoft states that Microsoft was forced to credit back $1.5 million to advertisers because of the Lamb's alleged fake clicks. A reverse DNS of game-03.evony.com on IP 64.156.194.13 shows that there are 19 domains hosted on evony.com. These include blueseawar.com, bugtomorrow.com, chooselucky.com, clickevony.com, comeplaymylord.com, evony.com, evony.net, evonyonline.com, evonyonlinegames.com, haveafunnyday.com.
Have a funny day? What? How is that related to the game? Like, this stuff is ridiculous. Blue Sea something? So they just had all these domains that people would click thinking that there would be something else, and it would direct you to the game so that they could get more people to join the game and pay or whatever else. Or they would get advertisements that I don't even know how it works specifically, but it does seem extremely, extremely shady.
And superfunnyday.com. A whois of superfunnyday.com shows Lynn Isaac at gmail.com with Isaac Chan as the owner. A whois search of Isaac Chan shows that he owns 88 other domain names, including clickevony.com, comeonevony.com, devilevony.com, dignityevony.com, eagleevony.com, enjoyevony.com, and countless others which have been used to...
Holy, look at all those. Look at all those. That is insane. This is insane. How many do they need?
advertise evony.com in Google AdSense. It also shows he owns accountsale.cn and accountsale.com. An archive history of accountsale.com shows it has been used to sell World of Warcraft accounts and services. Dig.com shows a posting on May 14, 2008 that accountsale.com currently has more than 1,000 World of Warcraft accounts for sale. Complaintboard.com shows accountsale.com has a bad reputation as stealing and scamming, and that it had renamed to wowmine.com and wowgoldhog.com. It shows that wowmine.com's physical offline address is in Wilmington, Delaware. File 471200 on July 22, 2009 also shows that Evony LLC has been formed in Wilmington, Delaware.
I mean, it is completely possible that these two places just happen to be related in some aspects, and then they also happen to be both based in Wilmington. I mean, it's possible. I've never been to Wilmington. Maybe it's the biggest city on earth. Maybe there are just so many people there that it is, absolutely huge, and half the world's companies are based there. Hey, no. Let's continue.
November 6, 2007. Tuxi at umge.com posts a job on dogame.com.cn, which states that Ms. Yu from Yu Yi Digital Technology Company Limited is seeking a web designer and lists being familiar with World of Warcraft as a requirement. Going to 321wan.com, we see familiar evony.com banner in Chinese language. The exact certified translation into English is as follows: Civilization Empire, 2009 web game Chinese version. Free 1000 RMB Civilization Empire daily. The banner links to civony.cn, the same name as Evony just months before.
Oh, I actually heard about this one. It used to be called Civony before it was called Evony. And the allegation that a lot of people had is that because it was completely ripped off from Civilization, and that's why they called it Civony. And then after there were issues with that, then they changed it to Evony.
January 15, 2009. Support at umge.com registers civony.cn at 1837 military time with the company name Yu Yi Digital Technology Company Limited, Guangzhou, China. Evony has also used models from a costume store without their permission and multiple actresses from the adult industry for their ads, some of which have been seen on
Really? Like, girls playing with 102. Like, I remember being in university and seeing these ads pop up all the time with scantily clothed girls, and they just pop in and say, "Come save me, my lord, come save me, we need you." And then you'd go into the game and you'd be like, okay, where am I supposed to save somebody? I'm building stuff. It just reminds me of the puzzle stuff. It just does. It's there to lure you in, to get you to start playing, and that's all they want. They just want to click you in it. And what sells more than than these adult entertainers here put on the Evony posters? It was so ridiculous that I think I wish I had some copies of it. Maybe I'll throw one on the video when I go into editing. But there were these ones that Plants vs. Zombies decided to parody because it was just rampant. You just saw the ads everywhere, and it was hilarious.
Educational research sites. Evony.com not only engages in click fraud, but is the largest from a single person in the history of the internet, costing millions in damages. Evony logs everything in your computer's memory upon opening and has the ability to store this information. Evony created a program that makes it easy for people to spam links for Evony in their program called iEvony, which has the ability to import mailing lists.
I had heard about that. I've never used it, and I don't know if there's anything I assume that going through Google Play and Apple Store that it's all safe and all that. So I don't think that stuff exists anymore. The belief that your stuff is being stolen, your information is being stolen, they're tracking stuff. I don't think that that's an issue anymore. I mean, I'm not really the person that would know all that, but I'm slightly concerned after watching this. I definitely am a little bit concerned.
Evony has copied RuneScape.com's homepage word for word. Evony supports gambling, going so far as to have the word gambling in their own source code as the game for the real money spins. Evony is expensive. Even paying Evony is suspicious. These are the facts.
I don't know about you guys, but reflecting on this stuff, I'm not too shocked. I'm not too shocked to find out a lot of this information. The way that advertisement and all that has been in recent times, and the, in my opinion, shadiness in the way that the monetization system has been, especially in this last year, I'm not too surprised at all to find out that there is an equally shady past, in my opinion. And the more I look online, the more I find things like World of Lordcraft that has pretty similar construction to Evony, but it's a complete ripoff of World of Warcraft, but in Evony style, and has the same ads as Evony used to with "Come play, my lord," and there are so many things out there that are really suggestive of the way that this company presents themselves. And I don't know how I feel about this. Like, I'm still playing, but I personally am not going to invest any money into a company I don't feel is is worth that. Anyway, that's it for my video. I'll see you in the next one.